Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table podcast with PJ and Mike. Now, please find yourself a seat at their table.
Hey guys, I'm Mike,
I'm PJ.
and today we're going to be talking about our favorite 90's summer blockbusters.
It's our summer kickoff episode.
So yeah, these are basically words about movies that came out during the summer of the 90's. So basically kind of the months of May to August. And like some of these are huge ones. Of course, you know, I know for my list that I'm gonna, or maybe the ones that don't get enough spotlight. You know,
Right,
obviously we
right.
know Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park and Independence Day. Those are great films. But I want to kind of my list is gonna be a little bit different from those.
And my list is probably just the ones I remember the biggest, so you'll see some of those, but you're going to hear some other ones also that I have on here, so there's going to be a whole lot of movies being discussed.
Yeah, but
Some of these movies on my list are movies that we've talked about, dedicated episodes to already. So, you know, you might hear some familiar conversation from movies that we've already seen.
Yeah. But PJ, I want to ask you, because we always do our favorite childhood memories. Can you remember what summer movie you remember seeing in theaters when you were a kid?
I can. The summer of 1994 was, I believe it was in June it came out, an animated classic.
Oh, okay.
And I call it a summer blockbuster because of how huge it is.
Probably what? Yeah. I'm trying to
The
guess
Lion King.
Oh, I was gonna say Aladdin for some reason. Yes.
The Lion
oh,
King.
Dude.
Huge
100%.
movie.
Yeah.
What a cast. You know, you had like a James Earl Jones, Jeremy Irons, Jonathan Taylor Thomas was in that. Just a huge cast. Timon and Pumbaa. Timon was Nathan Lane.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So just a huge cast of just well-known actors doing voices in this movie. The songs are unforgettable. I think everyone knows Hakuna Matata.
Yeah. One of the
Circle
that
of
whole
Life. The whole
soundtrack
soundtrack
is
on
banging.
that. And it's such a memorable Disney movie. It's probably, if not the best, one of the, if not the best animated movies they've come out with. Just great.
I know they always highly regard Beauty and the Beast to be like they're really, because that one was actually nominated for like Best Picture, but I actually think Lion King is better. In my opinion.
Yeah, Lion King is just a great movie.
Beauty and the Beast is badass. That's a great movie, you know. But Lion
I think
King
Beauty
is,
and the Beast was like a game changer in terms of how they made their animation movies and like.
Touche.
Yeah, but I think Lion King is just it's Shakespeare really is what it is.
Yeah, it's Hamlet.
Yeah, it's great. How about you? What was your childhood?
So I have two.
Okay.
Because I remember just actually what my family. Lots of times we actually see movies on vacation. So I was very fortunate. My parents would take us to Disney World, Universal, so we would be there for like 2 weeks.
Right.
When our days off, we'd actually see a movie.
Okay.
So I actually saw Jurassic Park on vacation.
Spared no expense.
Ooh, that's a good movie.
Yeah, that was sick. I remember just seeing that, and I remember as a kid, like you ever like in your head, maybe our listeners can relate to, like you wish you got certain toys as a kid. Like I remember even to this day, like, man, I wish I got Jurassic Park toys. I was really getting more like Darkwing Duck and Power Rangers and Turtles and all those, X-Men for sure. But part of me always wanted to get that. But anyway, another movie that I saw in there was actually Forrest Gump. I was like, I think in South Carolina, and I remember we saw it in a. I think they are still around now. It is popular, but it was like maybe like a 3 theater. Theater.
Yeah,
right? So
it wasn't like
three
it's not a
screens.
multiplex. It's
Yes,
just
that's it.
Yeah, it's not a multiplex.
But I remember it was just like one of those like I think that sometimes like give movies like sometimes you need to see a movie in the theaters not just because of the scene on the big screen, but like there's like an energy in the room. And I remember like seeing Forrest Gump, and I'm sure most of our listeners have seen it when like I just remember like when he's running and his braces fall off his legs. I remember it was like an energy in the crowd where you were like cheering for him. It was cool, man. That was like a really great experience.
You want to hear something crazy about Forrest Gump? Mm-hmm. That is not one of my favorite movies at all.
What?
I don't dislike it or anything. If I never saw that movie again, I wouldn't be upset. Right. I think it's very long. I think there are parts of that movie that drag on. I know I'm in the minority on this one. There's a lot of people going to hate on me in the comments on this, but I don't know. I think it's highly overrated.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Robert Zemeckis made that. He made Back to the Future and Roger Rabbit, but I think it's hard to movie to watch over and over and over and over again. But I think it's. I mean, I quote that movie all the time. Like Lieutenant Dan ice cream. Every time I give out ice cream or I get ice, that's the first thing I say to myself. Or I must have myself 15 Dr. Peppers, and Gary Sinise. I love him as Lieutenant Dan.
Oh, he's great. He's great. There's a lot of good stuff in the
movie.
movie. I just think it's very long and very overrated. But that's just me.
Yeah. So PJ, started off, man. What is one of your favorite 90s summer blockbusters?
I am going to start off with a movie that came out June 19th, 1993. An Arnold Schwarzenegger classic. The Last Action Hero.
Whoa. Okay.
I know that people don't like that movie and they think it's one of his worst. A lot of people say that's one of his worst. As a kid, though,
yeah,
the idea of being able to jump into a movie screen, they got like that
Right.
golden ticket or whatever
Yeah.
it was. I forget the exact plot now, but it's been so long. But they could jump into the screen and into the movies, and then you'd see that because Arnold was in the movie as Arnold. There was a poster of the Terminator, but it was Stallone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just always thought the movie was fun. I think it's underrated as an Arnold movie. It was a summertime movie, big explosions, big action.
Yeah.
For me, a summer blockbuster tends to be an action-y movie.
Right.
And that had some action in it. That I don't know. I just think it's fun.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be good for a good kickoff for my list as The Last Action Hero.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Actually, I'm actually starting mine off with an action film as well. Speed with Keanu Reeves.
That's on my list also.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, for me, I think this is one of the best action movies of all time.
Oh, it's great.
And it's probably one of the best action movies of the '90s. And believe it, Keanu Reeves, man, he's maybe besides Tom Cruise, they're still carrying that torch of awesome action movies. Because Arnold, he's an older man now, or even Stallone, but these two, but this movie is just awesome. I mean, there's so many great sequences in this movie. People forget that. People just think about the bus.
But there's way more than that.
Right, and the subways.
Yep.
But the beginning, the first maybe 15, 20 minutes is actually with that elevator scene.
Yep.
That is awesome.
The whole movie's awesome.
And, this is when I fell in love with Sandra Bullock. I thought she looked so good in this movie. She sounded hot, and, I don't know, she was, obviously, I guess they had, Sandra for us guys and Keanu for the ladies.
I think everything about that movie is just so fun.
Yes, exactly.
And it keeps your attention. There's like that, not anxiety, but there's like that tension the whole movie. Like, you got to see what happens next. You're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Edge of your seat. The bus can't slow down. You're hooked immediately.
Right. Quentin Tarantino says action movies are the hardest to film because your action should be advancing the plot. And that movie is always advancing the plot. Always, always. I mean, what a cast. Like I said, Keanu, Sandra Bullock, Dennis Hopper. People forget Jeff Daniels is in this.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I guess I'll, spoiler alert, but there's a point in the film, which is like a big turning point where he dies. I don't want to say how he dies, but he does die. And you're just like, holy shit. It really gives the movie much more like, wow, things are at stake.
Yeah.
Anybody can die, kind of thing. And there's so many great one-liners like, pop
Quiz.
quiz.
That's another good one.
And I feel like this is actually probably the end of good one-liners. Nowadays they feel so, I don't know what it is. If it's the acting or the writing, it just seems so flat nowadays. It seems so out of place. But this movie had so many great one-liners. Like I said, it says Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper gets his head taken off, and Keanu's like, well, I'm taller, and the guy from Dyson from Terminator 2, he's in it. He plays one of the cop captains. He's like that. He says, "Okay, run it!" And they're like, he says these things, and Jeff Daniels has a great line where they're trying to figure out who is the terrorist, if you want to call him. He's like, "That's our scumbag." But there's so many great lines, and there's another scene I want to briefly talk about in Speed is there's a point where Keanu Reeves, he's getting very frustrated. Dennis Hopper outsmarts him, and he gets pissed off, and he's really kicking the dashboard.
Yep.
He's bugging out, and Sandra Bullock's like, you got to calm down. But I think it's the only movie I've really seen Keanu get pissed.
Right.
Usually his character's always like kind of like the
Cool,
kung fu,
yeah.
like I'm gonna stay, like.
He's always calm and collected.
Yeah, that movie. That's when you see him breaking it, like he
Yeah.
starts to lose it. Was great.
You know what else is wild about that? That whole scene where they get the people off the bus. That whole sliding them out underneath the bus. Like it's just wild. That whole movie is great.
Just
I love
so
that
many.
movie.
Like I said, what a great.
Great. I love that movie.
You know.
The second one, not so much, but the first one.
No, yeah.
I hope they make another one of these and bring Keanu back. I would be okay with
that.
that.
Yeah.
If
If they do it right, they do it right.
If they do it right.
Yeah.
This is a movie that you could really revive and it would still hold up and it wouldn't feel out of place. Like it's.
Yep.
I think that movie could come. They could bring that franchise back and it would still hold up.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What's your second choice?
I'm going to give you for my second choice, July 1st, 1998.
Wait, you got all the dates. I should have did the dates.
I got dates.
These are all summer movies, folks.
These are all summer movies, but I put some dates in here.
Mm-hmm.
Armageddon.
Oh, yes.
Right. It's not my favorite movie, but as a summer movie, no. It was another movie with action, with stakes, a great cast. You had Affleck, you had Bruce Willis in there, Liv Tyler's in there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think it was just an all-star cast.
Did Jerry Bruckheimer direct this?
I know he produced it. I don't remember if he directed it.
Okay. Was it Michael Bay?
Michael Bay. I was about to say, I think it might have been Michael Bay.
Okay.
I think it was a Bruckheimer and Bay production.
Yeah.
The whole plot of the movie that they got to stop the thing from hitting the earth. It's just...
Yeah.
It's summery. It's actiony.
No,
it's a great movie. It's well acted.
And you can still watch that today and enjoy.
You can. And there are scenes in that movie that you remember. That's the thing about movies. Are there memorable scenes? And there are. That whole the leaving on a jet plane scene, and song, this great soundtrack for that.
Yeah.
Aerosmith. When he's got the animal crackers and he's walking them over Liv Tyler. There are scenes in the movie that you remember. There are stakes that you remember. Mm-hmm. Action. There were parts you could laugh at. It had romance. It had everything. I think it's a great movie.
Yeah.
And it feels like a summer movie to me. Again, for me, a summer movie has to be kind of actiony and blockbustery, and I think this fits the bill. And I think I think this is the kind of movie that appeals to a large audience. It's not some action movies. They don't appeal to anybody except for the guys that like action movies. But this has something for everyone. It has some action. It has some stakes. I think. Yeah, I think this is a big time summer movie. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I think also it helps the movie really kick ass. Is like you just felt the cast had chemistry.
Yes,
you just feel that chemistry like right through the screen. Everyone has like a charm.
Absolutely,
there's just an energy, man, that they captured in that film. Great choice. Mm-hmm. Mine's actually another action film, and another. I think it's an Arnold movie.
Okay,
it doesn't get enough love. Maybe it's on your list too. Is actually True Lies.
Okay,
I think this is one of the most underrated action films. This is it's actually a James Cameron film. People don't know. I actually think it's a remake from maybe like a Japanese film. But this is a totally underpraised, underrated film. This is probably James Cameron's funniest movie. And this movie is just awesome. What else to say? You have Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Arnold, Jamie Lee Curtis, Bill Paxton, and this movie just has everything. It's funny, awesome action, suspenseful. I don't know, just so many great lines. I mean, this movie has such charm, and we really need movies like this nowadays. Where this, I'm gonna get, I guess towards my end, I'm gonna do my little rant, but they really need movies like this where it's like it's family friendly.
It's for everyone.
Action.
It's for everyone,
and everything just clicks. And this movie has so many great scenes and one-liners. Like he has when he's fighting the terrorist, and the terrorist is asking the guy to film, and all of a sudden he's using a camcorder, all of a sudden the battery comes up. And the guy's like, "Batteries," and he's like, he has to get another batch of batteries. And there's a part where they get captured, Arnold and Jamie Lee Curtis, and he's like, they give him like a truth serum, and she's asking him questions, and she's like, "Have you ever killed anyone?" He's like, "Yeah, but they're all bad."
I remember that.
Yeah, and
that's a good line. It's a good movie.
And she's like, then her anxiety starts to spiral. She's like, "Are we gonna die?" He's like, "Yep." And it's just so many funny scenes, man, and even that movie just starts off with a great James Bond-esque scene, and it's also somewhat of a spoof maybe off of James Bond, but I know people kind of pick on the ending because it's he's on the jet plane, but you know what? it's a fucking blockbuster.
Right.
This is not that kind of movie. This is like
Exactly.
talking about tone. This tone is fine. This is that kind of movie. It's fine. At one point, he almost jumps over a building with a horse. He doesn't go over it. The horse stops him.
Right.
I think Arnold actually gets mad at the horse. He's like, "Why would you do that?" kind of thing. But like I said, this movie really highlights how James Cameron can do comedy. How Arnold really is. He's great in comedic films.
He is.
He did
He really
Kindergarten
is.
Cop. He did Twins before that.
Twins is great, Junior.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But in this movie, I just want to talk about how I think what really makes the movie really super duper work is actually Jamie Lee Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
She really plays like that, like housewife who kind of lost her zip
Right.
for life. And there's a great scene where she's like, well, they fake kidnap her and they put like in an interrogation room. But it's a really vulnerable moment. She says like, I was like, I wanted to prove to her like, here I am. I'm not a. This is what she says,
Right.
but like, I'm not a pussy. I can
Right.
do something. I can break out of my shell. And it's a really moving scene. And she ends up breaking the glass with like
Right.
a bench or a stool.
It's like a stool.
Yeah, but it's a really intense scene. Really, it's awesome. It's probably the most important scene. But that scene itself gives the rest of the movie like legitimacy.
Yep.
It's like, okay, they're really gonna try to make her feel like she's a secret agent,
Right.
and then obviously she gets really wrapped up in it.
Yep.
But such a great film, man. So good.
That is a good one. That is a good one. Another movie that's going to feature some of those similar names on my list was released July 3rd, 1991.
Jesus.
Probably one of the greatest movies of all time. Jim Cameron, Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Oh hell yeah.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't have a 90s summer blockbuster list and not have this on here because it's probably the greatest movie of all, like up there, right?
Yeah, no.
I mean, if you think of greatest movies of all time, that movie is always on the list because it is that good. I mean, and this is another movie where there's so much memorable lines. There's so much you could quote from them.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Like, all that's great. The T-1000 just looks ridiculous when he runs and he turns into the metal.
Yeah.
And all that. I just love everything about it. And I felt like, as I was putting my list together, I started to realize, I was like, Arnold is like the king of the summer.
Yep, absolutely.
He's in all these summer action-y movies, and there's a reason that they're so good, and it's because he's so likable in them, and he does all these... He doesn't get the credit he deserves because he could do action where he doesn't talk a lot. He can do comedy.
Yeah.
But Terminator 2, it's so good. The action, and it's so many practical effects in that movie in addition to the CGI, but there's so much in that movie that I just love. And the ending, when they have to melt him and he gives the thumbs up as he's going down.
That movie has just everything.
Everything.
Like, emotion.
Oh, it's so
it has
good.
like a message at the end. People talk about the message of that film because at the end,
yeah,
Sarah Connor's doing the voiceover, how he learns to really learn to be kind to one another. Like, holy shit! Like, it was so. Absolutely. Awesome
and going
film.
into Terminator 2, right? I like Terminator 1 also. I think it's great. It's a great movie.
Fuck yeah.
Terminator 2 is a different movie. It's not that it's barely the same genre.
Yeah. The first one's more horror.
Yeah.
If anything, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you get into Terminator 2, you're not expecting what you're getting.
Yep.
So you're like, holy shit, what just happened? This isn't the movie I thought I was going to see. So you're immediately pulled in by that shift in tone. And then, Arnold's not really the villain in this one. So, in the first movie, you're like, you're afraid of him and you like, how do we get away from him? In this movie, you need him there.
Right.
Because he's reprogrammed. So it's a whole different feel. The whole movie feels way different than the first one. And the acting is on point. Even the kid, Edward Furlong.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good in it. I know sometimes he gets some hate, but I thought he was good in that movie.
No, I think he's great in that.
Yeah.
We talked about Last Action Here. I think one of the reasons that movie did not work
is the kid.
That kid did not work.
Right.
No way.
Exactly. You're 100%
That
right.
kid was horrendous.
So, I mean, I just felt like you have to have this on your list.
Yeah.
So that was my pick.
Yeah, and just real quick with Terminator, with Arnold and his roles, I think T-1000, that's Robert Patrick, and Predator are like his best foes that he had.
Yep.
Because every movie you always know he's like the fucking man, but those ones like, oh shit, he might fucking.
He might lose this one. You're right.
Where you really felt like, oh man, my boy Arnold's a really.
He's in trouble.
Yeah.
He's in trouble.
So great pick. For mine, I'm actually going into comedy now.
Okay.
I'm not sure what year. I'm gonna say maybe 96, 97, around that era time. I feel like this movie is definitely still quoted, but I feel like it somehow is like kind of like I don't know, like kind of fading. I don't know why. Austin Powers.
Was that a summer movie? I didn't realize that came out in the summer.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yep.
That's a great movie, the first one.
Yeah, The Spy Who Shagged Me, yeah.
So good.
I feel like this is a classic. Obviously it's a spoof on the spy genre,
Yep.
007 and everything, but like, this is like one of those comedies.
I think it's a timeless movie.
Yes.
I could watch it today and still enjoy it.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, this is the type of movie where, like, I think the last, given the state of the world right now, our country, everything's so sensitive. Like, I feel like comedies don't even exist.
They don't.
The last one that really had, I felt it was really super popular was probably the Hangover, and maybe before that, maybe it was like that whole kind of era with you had like the 40-year-old version.
Yeah, I was gonna say those
Judd Apatow
movies,
Seth Rogen kind of things, and I Love You Man, all those kind of that crew, that whole crew of guys. But I feel like the Hangover was the last one. But this movie is still funny. It's hilarious. So many great characters. You have obviously Austin Powers, Dr. Evil. He's
great.
He's playing two characters.
Mini-Me.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But even
he's really in the second one. But he's in the.
Mini-Me might be the second one.
Right.
Might be but even some of those other villains that you meet in those movies, like Frau Farbissina and Number 2.
Yeah.
Like they're all like, even Seth Green.
Yes, that's like his breakout film. They said that movie put him on the map.
There's just a great cast in that movie.
Yeah, just the chemistry in that film. There's so many great lines. Just like little small jokes. Like he has one of the villains is a goof on Odd Job.
Yep.
His name is Random Task. Like that's a great.
It's so funny.
That's great. And he always has like the bombshells. I mean, Heather Graham is so hot in that movie.
Not Heather Graham. Heather Graham's the second one.
Yes,
right?
Elizabeth Hurley. I mean, whoa,
she's a knockout.
What a smoke show in that. But,
the fembots.
Yeah. Even that. Yeah. All like that's another thing. The movie had like a sexiness too. You know what I mean? Like it was like fun. You know what I mean? Like.
It's a great movie.
Really, like I said, now I feel like it's kind of gotten lost, but it's really a great, comedy. Mm-hmm.
So, this movie, I saw it in theaters.
Okay.
And I probably didn't see it on the day it came out, but it was released, I believe, June 19th, 1992. Mm-hmm. Batman Returns is a summer movie.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
Yeah,
too, yeah.
and. For me, I think that might be my favorite Batman movie.
Wow.
Again, Michael Keaton, great as Batman. You had Catwoman, Selena Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yes. Well, she's the best.
The best
of all time.
Yeah.
Everything. The costume was hot. She's hot.
Just
voice,
great.
She's
everything
smoky.
about
she's
it.
like a kind of like a little nutty to it. You know what I mean?
Everything about her in that movie is great.
Nailed it. I mean, nailed it.
You had Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
Yo,
you can't.
People don't talk about his performance enough.
He's so good.
He was like a real nut, and he's someone you can sympathize because he's like kind of a freak. I'm actually doing
his hand. They had the flippers.
Hand. Yeah.
Pee Wee Herman sent him down the river. Mm-hmm. He's raised by penguins.
Always like his hideout was like an old zoo. And
There's imagery in that movie that sticks with you, like when he comes out of the sewer and he has the big yellow duck, and then he's like, and he has the baby because he saved everything, and that's how he starts running for mayor, and like just the way, I don't know, I just think it was done so well.
I think also what makes that movie really look crisp is like the first Batman '89, both by Tim Burton, is very dark,
Yeah.
And this film is actually more well lit, but it has like that like gray kind of like cold winter kind of like ugh, but it looks good though.
And what's strange about this movie is that it was released in the summer, but I'm pretty sure it starts on Christmas in the movie. It's like they're doing a tree lighting.
I have a hard time with that kind of stuff. If a movie takes place during Christmas and
it should be a Christmas movie, but it came out in the summer
or winter. I have a hard time sometimes. It's jarring for me, but
but that movie, I think it's the best Batman movie that's been produced yet. Michael Keaton is great. Michael Goff, whatever his name is, the Alfred. He's my favorite Alfred. I think he had that sarcasm and that wit to him that he could stand up to Batman. He's the only person that could. I think that was done well. You have Christopher Walken in that movie that plays a great role, not a big role, but a great role.
Yeah, he plays a good nut.
So much in that movie is just perfect and done right. the penguins with the little like rocket launches on.
The movie gets a little goofy.
I know, but I still like it.
I guess already Tim Burton-y at that point. Actually, I remember for my birthday, my parents got me a bunch of those toys. I still have them. I got the little penguins with little rocket
packs on them. But even when like Danny DeVito goes to the cemetery and finds the grave of his parents, like he's such a good actor that he makes you feel like that. That's a powerful scene.
But he was scary, man. At one point, I think he bites someone's nose off,
and it's all black.
He's eating like a raw fish at one point. Like, I don't know. It was great. Like,
it was great.
He was very because you think of like how they get out. You have the Joker. You have Jack Nicholson.
How can you possibly top it?
And you have this other.
This is how you top
this character who's freaky looking.
Yeah.
And
I think it's one of the only superhero movies that have found a way to balance having two villains. Because sometimes you have these movies with all these different villains, and it just feels like no one's getting the time they deserve. None of the characters are being built. Yeah. This movie, you had two villains, but they each got the right amount of time to develop those characters. Great movie for me, and that's why I put it on my list.
Nice. This also came out. I saw this in theaters. It's actually a horror film. I think it's one of. I'm not really super into horror films. I know sometimes people there's like a blend. Is it psychological thriller?
Right.
Is it, but
right.
I'm going to consider this as a horror film. The Sixth Sense.
I was gonna put that on my list, and then I took it off my list because I decided I would spend my time on action-y type of movies.
Yeah.
But I do like The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
One of M. Night Shyamalan's best.
Yeah, probably. I think it is his best film, in my opinion. But I think it's really a classic film. I agree. It's not like when you think summer blockbuster, but this movie I remember took everyone by storm. Everyone was like, "You gotta see the fucking end." You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna spoil it now because believe it or not, I think some people haven't seen it. And it's been years now,
right?
Decades. So, but it's a freaking great film. Another action stars in it. Bruce Willis. Our young what was his name? Haley Joel
Osment was in that.
Yep. I can't think of the guy's name. He plays in the beginning. He's actually in his underwear. He's very mentally ill.
Right.
But I won't say it's Gary Oldman. But anyway, that guy's it's only a short scene. But anyway, that movie has creepiness. It's weird. These are my type of horror films. I'm not really into the Michael Myers, the Halloweens. Those movies kind of boring. I think they're cool, but
they have their place. But
I can never get some people I love horror films. I'm more into the psychological. I never really.
I do like a horror movie. I think those Michael Myers Halloween movies or the Friday the 13th movies, I think they have a place in cinema. I love them. But this movie is different. It's not... This is more of, like you said, a psychological thriller. And I watched that movie... If you watch it now or you watch it when it came out, I don't think anyone with Bruce Willis could have done this movie.
Yeah.
He is so perfect in that role. And... I can't even imagine how anyone else could have pulled it off. He was so great in that movie.
Yeah.
I've always been a big Bruce Willis fan because I like those Die Hard movies, and I love Die Hard. I'm a huge Bruce Willis fan, and I think that's one of his best roles is this movie.
Absolutely.
I actually think Bruce Willis and M. Night Shyamalan have made really work well together because he's been in the
Unbreakable.
That's
a very good. That's one of his M. Night.
Another great movie.
That's really underrated. That's a good.
That's
movie.
probably my favorite M. Night Shyamalan, but that also has Bruce Willis. They click creatively.
Yeah. No. Touche. Very true. So that's what I got. And I just want to say I feel like with this movie, Sixth Sense, it kind of somewhat resparked maybe psychological thrillers. I think maybe I'm not sure when Scream came out. Scream was actually a goof on of the horror genre really, but I feel I think if you didn't have The Sixth Sense, you wouldn't have The Ring that came out maybe 4 or 5 years later. You wouldn't have these. Right. You wouldn't have your Annabelles and all these other fucking things now.
No, I
saw. I feel like this movie kind of
put that back on the map.
Yeah, put those.
That's fair.
Kind of brought it. What's yours? What's your next one, Mr. PJ?
Let's see. What do I have here on my list? We did that one. All right. You can't get away from this movie as being a big summer blockbuster. You mentioned it earlier. July 3rd, 1993, Independence Day. There's not much to say about this movie. We all know the speech.
Right.
We all post a YouTube clip of that speech on July 4th every year on our Instagram and our social media because we all think we're clever by doing it. Yeah. Look, I get it. We're going to do it again this year in just a couple of days, right? We're going to put it on. It's a great movie. That speech is fantastic. The cast is great. The plot is great. The action is cool. The imagery in that movie, their imagery to me is a big thing because there has to be something that you remember from the movie, and it might be a line, but if there's a visual that just sticks in your head.
Yeah.
This movie came out in 1993, so what was that? 30 years ago?
Jesus, right?
Was it 30? Yeah, 30 years ago.
Right.
But you can still see that White House blowing up. If you in your mind right now, you can see it.
Poof.
Right?
Yeah.
You see it. That's what I mean. Like the imagery in that movie, the visuals in that movie, the plot is simple but memorable.
Yeah.
The scene of Will Smith dragging the
Yep.
Right? Like
but that's really funny because at one point he, I don't know if he improvised it, but he's like, "Then what does that smell?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that was his at his best.
At his
know?
best. That's what I mean. That's a movie where everything just clicked, and you get an instant classic. And so it's on my list. Again, there's not much you need to say about it because the plot is not the deepest.
Yeah.
The sequel was not good.
Mm-hmm.
But this first movie, Independence Day, I think it's maybe it's might possibly be the ultimate summer movie.
Yeah,
because it's about Independence Day. So that's my list.
Yeah. I think also to that movie kind of, and I'm not sure if these are the exact sequence of these films that came after it or before it, but I think it brought back like the disaster films.
Mm-hmm.
Like you wouldn't have your Armageddons, you wouldn't have your Deep Impact.
Yeah. Day After Tomorrow, whatever.
Yep, all those kind of things. Twister, all those fucking films. You know, so that's a great choice. My next one is another. It's a. It came out. This was a huge movie too. I think people have forgotten about it. This is not an action film. This is a drama film. But I saw it in theaters actually. I think it's the first time actually. I think I saw it as a kid. I think it was like the first time I got like an emotional film, like a film I cried.
Right.
You know, probably the first one. It's actually Apollo 13.
Ooh, Apollo 13. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's a good movie.
this is directed by Ron Howard. I know sometimes people give him like a hard. I don't know why people break his balls.
Richie Cunningham.
Yeah, because he's in Happy Days.
That's
but
why.
he's made
That's
great,
the only. He makes great movies.
He's made this. He's made Backdraft. He's made
Let's talk for a second about Backdraft since you mentioned it. How great is that movie?
Yeah.
So good.
Because you don't really think of there's a lot of cop movies, but a lot of firefighter movies.
No, that's a great movie.
That's a really good movie. But yeah, I think Ron Howard is one of his best movies. Probably is his best movie. But this is like when we're talking about summer movies, like Tom Hanks is in this movie. Another movie. I think about all the summer movies this guy's been in. My God, like you have this is in the '90s. You have Forrest Gump, right? You have Saving Private Ryan. I think came out during the summer.
That was a summer movie.
You have Toy Story.
Obviously
a voice actor. You know. But I mean, like, damn, this movie.
I actually think
he dominated.
I think Da Vinci Code was a summer movie.
Yeah, I mean, so many. Like, my God, summer just Catch Me If You Can.
Well, he's a movie star. He's not just an actor.
Yes.
He's a movie star.
Yes,
so
yes, Mr. PJ. And like I said, this is another just banging cast. You got Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton. I mean, God bless him, he passed away. Gary Sinise is in this film, and it's based off a true story. This movie still holds up. You know. Yeah, I recommend Apollo 13, and it was like this movie was like a big deal. It really was.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess I'll go on my little mini rant, PJ, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
You know, cinema right now, much like our last episode, we were talking about, music industry. The music and film right now is very in a weird place right now. Obviously, they're always in the business of making money, totally. But I mean, like, there's an interview with Matt Damon where he talks about like, I miss mid-tier movies. Those are the movies that really got me off the ground. Mid-tier means like these movies aren't super expensive to make,
right?
But they're usually like kind of like one and dones, you know. So like Apollo 13, you're not gonna have a fucking sequel to this,
right?
You know,
no,
you know,
you're not making Apollo 14,
right. You know, so like The Sixth Sense. I mean, maybe now that came out today, that would be probably like a whole fucking universe. But like anyway, these, like I said before, like I said, True Lies, Armageddon. These like these kind of like, I know these are big budget movies, obviously, but I'm saying like these are like
it's just a movie.
Yes,
and it's
just
done.
A movie.
You've come out with a movie. It's a big hit, but that's the end of it.
And you had variety. It wasn't like, I feel like right now the industry is just full of like obviously tons of comic book movies, a lot of horror films. Believe it or not, it's just flooded with it. You know what I mean? But you don't have like just all these movies we're talking about right now. There's great movies that came out during the same year. These are the huge ones, but you had like like I
Well,
said,
everything now is a franchise.
right. Some of these movies probably came out the same year.
Probably, yeah.
I don't have all the. I should have did the dates. I apologize to our audience, but they probably I think, like maybe I want to take a guess. I think Austin Powers probably came out the same year as maybe maybe The Sixth Sense. Maybe okay, maybe not. I could be off, but maybe probably a couple of months or maybe a year. Okay, but all these movies were like there was so much variety in the cinema. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
Every movie was different.
yes, and we needed that, and I think we really need that now. I think we're starving for that because it's like sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like seeing that. That's why I think a movie that's gotten very popular is the Knives Out. I mean, now they're turning into a franchise, but that's why I think that first movie was a hit. It was different. It
felt different.
That is a mid-tier.
I still
movie.
haven't seen the second one yet.
Second one's good. The first
seen it
one's
yet.
better. The second one's fine. I'm actually going
Okay.
to see. Maybe we could talk about that film, but but we need to. I think they can make money,
Right?
Because you're not going to be spending a lot, and you'll get it back, And I think they should really.
Well, that's what it is. Not everything has to be a big budget movie. Sometimes it could just be a movie with a plot.
Yeah,
that's really what it is.
And then you can almost reestablish the movie star. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
get, all these guys back in it. But I really miss those kind of these one and done kind of films that are like special. Like
I don't think
like,
it's a summer movie, but a movie like a Good Will Hunting.
yes,
Like that's
exactly.
a movie. There is no sequel coming to that movie. There was never going to be. It was a story that took place in that and that was it. Like you followed that from the beginning to the end. You had a great cast. You had a Robin Williams. You had Ben Affleck. You had Matt Damon. And a couple of others in there. But you had a movie that was the beginning and the end, and it was emotional, and
it's fun to watch.
It was fun to watch. There was some parts you could laugh at, but you're right. Now everything now is a franchise. If you make one movie, you have to make sure there's a way to make 12 more after it because we need Fast and the Furious 87. Like that's what it is.
But yeah, those movies were special. Like Rounders, another Matt Damon film, or
Gigli.
Yeah. But even like actually, I do like Ben Affleck films. Like,
I do like that. I like Ben Affleck
The Town
a lot.
was a cool movie. These movies like The Town, that was a cool movie. That came out in the 2000s.
Argo.
I never seen that.
That's a good
My
movie.
brothers always tell me to check that movie out.
That's a great movie.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that 90s had that sweet spot of variety. PJ, what's I don't know if you have left.
I only have a few left. June 11th, 1993, I think is another date in movie history that changes the world in a big way. So I'll rewind before I say this movie. The movie Jaws had a huge impact on cinema.
Yeah.
And I think Jaws had that huge impact in 1976, right? I think we had to wait all the way to June 11th, 1993 to have a movie with the same level of impact with Jurassic Park.
Yes.
That movie...
And this year marks 30 years since that came out.
Yeah, 30 years
shit.
since that movie came out. And yeah, there's a bunch of them now, right? Mm-hmm. They made the Jurassic World trilogy. They had The Lost World. They had whatever the third one was called.
Jurassic Park 3, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those have moments that are worth watching. Some of them aren't so great. But the first one, that movie is perfection.
Yep.
Jeff Goldblum is actually a guy that's in a lot of summer movies because he was in Independence Day also. Yeah. His character is great. The effects, the dinosaurs looked real. There was a story that had heart to it.
Had scale.
Not
literally, but the dinosaur scale. But you really felt like...
Yeah, they spared no expense.
Yes,
is the only way to say it. It's so good. And again, I think that movie is like the Jaws of the next generation. The way Jaws changed everything. Yeah. Jurassic Park. There's horror in that movie. Mm-hmm. When the dinosaurs, like when that T-Rex eye, you just kind of see it in the car, and then it looks at the kids in the car. Like imagine being a kid and seeing a T-Rex. Like it's terrifying.
Yeah.
There's things you can laugh at in that movie with Newman.
Yes.
Like he's
it became a meme. Like look, nobody cares. Like,
nobody cares. Right.
Yeah.
There's Samuel L. Jackson shows up in this movie, and he's got
Hold
a great.
on to your butts.
Yeah, he's great. I don't know. I just think everything about that movie clicked on all cylinders. The cast, even the kids aren't that annoying in that movie.
No way, they're good.
They were used right, and I don't usually like kids in movies, but they were used really well. The boy, he's worse than the girl. I think he's a little more annoying.
I find the girl. I think she has less lines, but I think I find her a little.
Well, because all of a sudden she's a computer hacker and can unlock. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
bit much. But I just think as an actress, she was slightly better than him. But that whole movie is, I mean, it's just quotable. It's memorable.
Yes.
Again, imagery that you can remember.
Yes.
When they first pull up into on the island and they see dinosaurs and she turns his head and she sees the dinosaurs and then they're like, we have a T-Rex. You have a T-Rex? We have a T-Rex. That whole thing. I don't know, the raptors, just like when they learn how to use the door. All of that, or the very end when it's like the two raptors versus the Rex, and they're in the museum, and the dinosaur bites him on the neck, and you can see she reaches around the T-Rex and tries to like. There's images you can remember, the being in the toilet in the bathroom when he goes to hide. There's just, that movie is memorable on so many levels. The images, the actual script, the acting.
That movie has everything. It has everything. It has adventure. It has action,
horror.
Has horror. I was gonna say it also has like a lot of suspense because when the first time it comes out, when they're on the T-Rex comes through they lose power. It comes through that whole scene is one of the best.
Oh, it's great.
You were shitting your pants when you hear the footsteps. Like,
and you see the water starting to shake.
Yep. Classic. And even that, and then just talk about the intense moment. So you have that right after that. Remember, they're like stuck in that tree.
Yeah.
And they're actually stuck somehow. I think they're stuck in the car. You have to get out of it. It's gonna fall down on them. Yeah. That's intense. Then they're like running around at one point. Another great scene is like, remember they're climbing the fence.
And the power comes back on.
Yeah, and the kid gets fried.
Yeah.
He gets like shot off. He was like, that was intense. And then like you said, when they go finally back into they're in the kitchen. The Jello shakes on her thing, and you see
this is the shadow of the.
Yeah. I always like when the raptor uses claw.
Yeah.
And I look like he's breathing, like his breath will
see
fog.
I like because they're in the freezer, so you can see it.
Mm-hmm. I'm very big into like sound effects, like sound design. I always like the raptors going like or like the Tyrannosaurus going like.
Or even just the other dinosaur where it shoots the shit out of it, and that thing pops out of his neck.
Yeah. That thing always reminded me of Gremlins. I think it's called the Dilophosaurus.
Yeah.
It's like
such a good movie.
Yeah, it's like you said, that was the movie changed, like cultural impact. Like that movie, like kind of like Steven Spielberg. Like Jaws made people afraid of the ocean. People still are. I mean, you have Shark Week now.
Yeah.
When Jurassic Park came out, all of a sudden, like I think attendance went up at like the Museum of Natural History to see the bones.
It was just an amazing.
They made
film.
another if you ever saw this movie, it was an animated movie. It was called "We're Back: A Dinosaur Story." That's like another. Steven Spielberg made that too. I mean, like dinosaurs. They still are. That movie made dinosaurs like
made them cool. Like
made them. They were really like cool, but they made them like super fucking cool. Like it really changed everything. What else? That's the one where I kind of really wanted to finish.
I have just two more on my list. Mm-hmm. Not that we need to spend a lot of time on. These are movies that we've already spoke about in previous episodes, but June 15th, 1990 was Dick Tracy.
Yes.
And we've already had a whole episode about that, so I'm not going to go into all the reasons why we love that movie, but I think it deserved an honorable mention.
Sure.
And June 21st, 1991 was The Rocketeer.
Oh, yeah.
So another, again, we've already had a whole episode where we spoke a bit about why that movie is so great, so we don't have to go into it again, but that's another movie that has something for everyone. It has romance, it has action, it has some comedy that you can laugh at. Visually, it's fantastic. The whole look of The Rocketeer, the brown leather bomber jacket with that gold helmet.
Yes.
Just the imagery of it. Again, summer movies that stick with you. Mm-hmm. So those are all the ones I had on my list.
Great. Mm-hmm. And I think the common denominator of all these films is like they're all different and they're all firing on all pistons for all the same reasons. Like great story, great action. None of these, most of these we mentioned aren't really sequels. Besides Terminator 2, but the rest these are all just
the first one.
Yeah, basically all one and done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what makes T2 so special is even if you didn't see the first one,
it still works.
Yep. I mean, that's really well
And
done.
if you've never watched any after it, you're probably in a really good spot because you never watched any of the other Terminator movies that aren't worth watching. Yeah. They should have ended it with T2.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. But, PJ, fasten your seatbelt. I have a pop quiz.
Oh, a pop quiz. I actually wasn't really expecting one, so this is going to be interesting.
So,
okay.
Let me see. Okay, so these aren't, like, all about 90s, like, the blockbusters. These are just 90 movies.
Okay. I'm ready.
So, PJ, Tom Hanks was in a lot of movies, like we said, during the 90s, okay? And he has the privilege of being the last actor to have won two consecutive Best Actor awards. What were the films he won Best Actor?
Was it Forrest Gump?
Yes.
Okay. And then 2 consecutive. How the Apollo?
There was the one. It was so Forrest Gump was the second one. What was the movie he won before?
Forrest Gump?
Yep, back to back, baby.
Back to back. Philadelphia?
Yes. Whoa, PJ. WTF? Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I had to, when you said it was before that, I really had to think. But all right.
Cue Bruce Springsteen's "Streets of Philadelphia." Dun, dun, dun.
Streets of Philadelphia.
All right. What's next?
Dun, dun, dun,
I feel
dun.
good now that I got that right. So.
All right, PJ. This came out in 1997. It actually is an action film.
Okay.
I was gonna put it on my list, but I had it in the pop quiz. So this action movie stars Nicolas Cage.
Face Off.
Wait.
I guess I'll let you.
John Malkovich and John Cusack.
It's Con Air.
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome to Con Air.
That's
Dude,
a
I
great
still
movie,
quote
too.
that movie all the time.
That's
My
a great
brother.
movie.
I love how sinister John Malkovich. He's like, my daughter comes home on July 14th. You know what I mean? It's just so many. And what's his name? Mr. Pink. What's his name?
Mr. Pink is Steve
Buscemi.
Buscemi.
He plays a weird, like, kind of a
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter,
Yeah.
kind of crazy guy in that film too. I mean, that movie is a lot of fun to watch.
It really
it's
is.
cheesy, but it's still. That's what I'm talking about. We need movies that are just one and done fun movies.
That are just you watch them, you enjoy them, and then that's it.
PJ, name the film. This film, in the 90s, this soundtrack became the best-selling soundtrack of all time. Before you answer, I thought the best-selling soundtrack of all time was actually Saturday Night Fever because of the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
But it's, obviously that came out in the 70s. But so what is the best? This is saying of all time.
Of all time.
That's why I didn't know this. Maybe it's incorrect, but this is what I found.
Ooh. And it came out in the 90s?
Yeah. If you want, I can give you a hint.
Yeah, give me a hint.
Okay. Stars Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston.
The Bodyguard?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
I
of,
would
the Dolly Parton song.
I know, yeah.
I Will Always Love You.
Yeah.
So-
I wouldn't have gotten that without a hint. I never would have guessed that.
Okay. This also came out. This movie came out in 1999. It almost seems more. It came out more recently, not because of the sequels. It's The Matrix. Okay. But in the first Matrix, with Neo, that's Keanu Reeves' character, which pill did he take to get into the or break out of the Matrix, whatever you want to call it? You know.
I think he took the red pill.
Yes. Yes. That was it. Yep, the red pill. Okay. So PJ, we talked about disaster films before. Okay. We had Twister, right? That involves tornadoes. We had Armageddon.
Okay.
Deep Impact, and there was another movie, and there's other disaster films, but this one, can you name the movie about a monkey virus? It was
It's Outbreak.
Yes!
Yeah.
That's another great movie.
That's a great movie.
That's another great 90s movie that we recommend you guys check out, especially with the COVID that had just passed. I know the movie Contagion got a big, when COVID, the pandemic was...
but Outbreak was great.
Outbreak, I think, is actually... I
that
never
was the
saw
deadly
it.
Motaba virus.
Yeah. Speaking of disaster films, going with that, PJ, this movie stars Pierce Bronson and involves a volcano. Can you name the film? I saw this movie in theaters.
I can. Dante's Peak?
Yes!
Okay.
PJ! Oh my god.
I always get that confused with Volcano.
Yes. I never saw Volcano.
I saw that one too, which is a little not nearly as good, but it's still fun to watch. Fun to watch.
And like we're saying too, the common denominator on all these films is like they're kind of one and dones, but they're fun to watch and they're rewatchable. You know, that's a really great film. PJ, in the 1990s, there was a teen movie. All right, so it's geared towards mainly girls, things like that. But it was retitled. I don't know the original name of the film, but it was retitled after a Britney Spears song. Can you name the song, which is the same name of the film?
Yeah, I in my mind I can. I almost want to say Melissa Joan Hart's.
She's in it. She's in the
it.
film. Yep.
Is it Crazy?
Yes, I'll give it to you. Drive Me Crazy.
Drive Me Crazy. Yes.
You drive me crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. That video, man. Whoa.
Yeah. And she danced on the
great.
chair?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she got that green shirt on. Good heavens. And last, okay, so PJ,
Right.
Macaulay Culkin was the first child star ever to get paid $1 million to do a movie. What was the movie? It's in the 90s.
I want to say it's Home Alone 2. But is it Home Alone 1?
Nope.
It's not a Home Alone?
Nope. I think those movies got him to get this kind of paycheck.
I'm trying to think what else he was in. I'm going to kick myself when I don't get this.
I'll give you it's a love story, PJ.
I don't know. I can't think of it.
Oh my god, I stumped PJ!
Hold on. Macaulay Culkin.
Love story.
Oh, is it the one where he gets stung by the bees? Oh.
I'll sing a song for you.
My Girl?
Yes!
Yes.
He's like, I don't want to hear Mike sing. Talking about my girl.
He got paid $1 million for that, huh?
Yep, first kid to do it. Yep. Mm-hmm. I think because he had, the Home Alones were huge. And then, I'm not sure when the movie, which is a really underrated film, was called The Perfect Son, where he played like a villain. He played like a dick, like a psychopath. That was an intense film. But yeah, My Girl. So, folks, see these movies. If you haven't seen them, check them out. These are classics. You have kids, watch them. These are basically most of these are all family films.
Yeah, anyone could watch these movies. There's nothing in
And
here
they still hold up. We need movies like this. If maybe someone who works in the industry, you're hearing us, this is where you can make a lot of money. Make a movie that that's one and done. You don't need a super crazy budget. And all these movies that we talked about, you make a lot of money just from the merchandise. Like think of Jurassic Park, Terminator
Oh my god,
2.
the toys.
Everything's all
The
this
toys
stuff
and the
you can-
T-shirts and the lunchboxes
exactly, all
alone.
these films. Even Apollo 13, people that start kids up like a Lego, thing, whatever. Who I mean, there's so much money to be made in these things.
The Jurassic Park, just the amount of dinosaurs you could buy, and you can still buy toys from these movies. It's just crazy.
Mm-hmm. So much, man. So much. But that's a wrap. But we're definitely going to revisit other 90s. Maybe not from the summer, just from the 90s. I know what we're going to do in the future. But,
well, it's our favorite decade, so.
Yeah. But, folks, thanks for listening. And if you're listening, guys, follow us on Instagram and YouTube. And comment, guys. We need your comments. We want to know what you think of this.
Comment, subscribe, but definitely interact with us. We really want you to give us some comments.
Yeah, let us know what you think of the show, or what you want us, what you would like to hear us talk about.
Or tell us your favorite summer movie.
Yeah, that'd be great. We want to hear back from you guys. And thanks for listening. And you guys know where to meet us at the same time, the same table.
See you next week.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. Please visit PJ and Mike's website, coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com for more information. Follow the boys on all social media apps. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.